Welcome to the Out of Work Actors channel. I'm Mary Kay. If you've looked through my other videos, you'll already know that I'm a big fan of pressure cooking. But I wanted to make this video to shed a little light on a concern that I think scares people away from pressure cooking, which is the question, can my pressure cooker explode? Quick side note, in this video, I'm only referring to pressure cookers like this, the metal stovetop type. I know that there are lots of people out there using electric pressure cookers. I have never used one. I don't know anything about them. Their construction is very different. They use a lot of plastic on the exterior body, and I don't know enough about them to make any comments or suggestions. So in this video, I'm only referring to the metal stovetop type. So we need to define what we mean when we say explode. If you mean, can this metal pot or the lid actually blast, disintegrate into sharp, jagged shreds of metal that will then go flying through the air in my kitchen and either maim, seriously injure, or maybe even kill me? And if that's the question you're asking, then the great news is that the short answer to that question is no. It is extremely unlikely. Little but here. You still can be injured or killed by a different kind of pressure cooker explosion, and I'll get to that. As you can imagine, there are numerous videos of people either intentionally or accidentally trying to blow up their pressure cookers right here on YouTube. I've included some links in the description and also at the end of the video. These videos vary widely. Some of them are grainy commercial kitchen videos that seem to show actual pressure cooker accidents. Some of them look like kind of amateur Mythbusters, if you remember that TV show. So it's a controlled situation where they have intentionally welded shut their pressure cooker and then they specifically try to blow it up. And some of them are scary. I mean, you've got lids flying through the kitchen, giant clouds of steam and food flying everywhere, people scrambling out of the way. The pots themselves get hurled across the room sometimes. One of these videos uses a pot just like mine. Mine is a Hawkins 3-liter classic. They suddenly fill the whole thing up with a very high-powered air compressor, and the whole pot seems to go like fill up with air. You kind of wince away from it because you feel like it's about to explode, but it doesn't. It does not blast into shrapnel. What happens is the lid blows out, which takes tremendous force. And if you were standing nearby, yeah, you would be hurt if that lid flew in your face. However, the fact that the pot does not blow into pieces is a really good thing, because it means that even in a controlled environment with people who are trying intentionally to blow this thing up, they can't do it. While we're on this topic, I think something that comes to mind is the very notorious use of pressure cookers by the Boston Marathon bombers to create shrapnel-type bombs in order to maim and kill innocent people. And there is a really very interesting and well-done news story about a group of researchers who run experiments to try to replicate when situations like that occur, and they did so with the Boston Marathon bombs, which included the addition of combustible materials like explosive, detonators, bomb-making knowledge, none of which any of us have, nor do we have the intention to do something so horrid. So, long story short, it shows how much manipulation of a pressure cooker is necessary in order to make it into a weapon. I have included the link to that video. I highly recommend you go watch it. So we know already that it would take a lot of manipulation in order to create a shrapnel type bomb where this pot would actually shred into pieces. As I mentioned earlier in the video, it is possible for another kind of explosion to occur while using a pressure cooker. And this is the kind of explosion that you'll see in almost all the videos I've linked and nearly all the videos out there on YouTube regarding pressure cooker explosions. It is a situation where something is dirty or broken on the pot and steam cannot properly escape through the steam vent. Now this is a Hawkins. Try to use this as an example if it doesn't fit yours exactly. But in these situations, what happens is that usually the steam vent, and I'll show that more in detail in a minute, is blocked. As the pressure builds up inside, it can't escape through the way it's supposed to escape. And so it has to force its way out another way. And that is how people get injured. Pressure will always take the path of least resistance out of a confined space, and by far, the easiest way for pressure to release from a pressure cooker is through the steam vent. You should always be able to see through the holes of the steam vent. See that little hole right there? That goes through all the way out to the top. And that is how steam gets out of this pot. That is how the pot works properly. If you have been using your pressure cooker daily and it is dirty, people get lazy. Sometimes they think, oh, I'm just gonna use it again tomorrow, I'll give it a quick rinse. If you've cooked rice in your pressure cooker, you know rice kicks off that gluten, it becomes gluey and sticky. It can build up inside of those little holes and completely clog them up. Then that pressure's got nowhere to go. So where's it gonna try to go now? Plan B for your pressure cooker is then to send all that pressure out through the safety valve. Every modern quality brand pressure cooker will have a safety valve on it. If you have a pressure cooker that doesn't have a safety valve, I suggest you do not ever use that again and you get rid of it in separate garbage cans so that somebody doesn't pick it up and take it home and use it themselves, because that's dangerous. A safety valve on a Hawkins is right here, and what that actually is a plug that will fuse or melt. There's different words used to describe what happens, but basically if steam can't escape through the steam vent, eventually that little plastic plug gets hot enough that it will clear out. And then instantaneously all the pressure inside the pot will be released and your pressure cooker is then rendered inoperable until you get that safety valve replaced. Another option that your pressure cooker has to get rid of built up pressure if the steam vent is clogged could be a weak or damaged gasket. Now on a Hawkins, the gasket is right around the edge of the lid right there, and I'm taking mine off to show you. So it's basically just a thick, round-edged rubber band. But it serves a really important purpose in the function of the pressure cooker, and it is to keep the pressure inside. We all know what it's like with a regular rubber band. If there is even the tiniest tear in that thing and you pull on it, it's gonna snap, right? The same is true with the gasket in a pressure cooker. You're building up pressure inside your pot, for some reason it's not venting properly. The pressure could decide, hey, this is an easy way out. And if you're standing next to the stove and it finds a weak spot in your gasket, you could get hit with a jet of scalding hot food and steam and liquid. The third thing that could happen is that the lid could just blast right off. So the lid would just come off, all of the contents of the pot too would likely go flying all over you, and the pot itself, again, flying across the room. Some of the videos that I've linked show just this kind of scenario. So all of these are the types of explosions and accidents that are possible. The good news is they are almost completely preventable. Keep it clean. Every time you use your pressure cooker, you should be thoroughly cleaning it. And while you do that, you can also inspect it to make sure that food hasn't built up inside of the steam vent holes, that your rubber sealing gasket isn't torn and isn't weak in any little spot. And if it is, throw it out and get a new one before you use the pot again. To sum it all up, pressure cooking is really great. People use pressure cookers all over the world every day. I don't mean to scare you with this video. Actually, what I'm trying to do is dispel unnecessary fears and myths about pressure cookers so that you can use one with certainty. I think pressure cooking is just as safe as cooking with regular pots and pans on the stove. There was something called jarts back in the day. They were lawn darts. It was like a projectile that had a weight with a poker on the end that, you know, if you looked up and it was coming down, it would take your eye out or kill you. It's not like that. Pressure cookers are inherently safe objects. They wouldn't be allowed to sell them if they weren't. But it's up to you to keep it well maintained and in good operating condition. I hope this video has calmed some of your concerns about using a pressure cooker. Thanks so much for watching. In doing it, there's nothing to, as long as you maintain your, I think that pressure, blah, blah, blah.